Johara, welcome back to my channel, to the Witchy Reader. So I'm going to do an original tag. It's an AuthorTube tag, and I created it myself. So it's one of the AuthorTube tags where you can do more than once with each different story that you make. I haven't done this one yet, so I'm going to start. I'm going to start out with doing my very first series, Jasmine Perez, but I will do it again and again, and with different stories as they come out. And yeah, I do have. I've mentioned this a couple of times, but I'm going to mention it again. My newest book, The Curses Light, will be coming out on Halloween, so you can get it then on Amazon. You can also find it under my name, Johara Harper. You can follow my author page to get updates on when all my books come out. I already have 3 books: Jasmine Perez and the Wicked Sorceress, Jasmine Perez and Another Realm, Jasmine Perez and the Enchantress, and the prequel will be coming out eventually. I'll let you know when I have more updates about that. And yeah, so this has 20 questions, and it's just a little bit into your character, your Emcee's life a little bit, before and after the story and during it. So let's get started, shall we? Number 1 is, what is the worst thing your Emcee goes through before the story starts? Well, Jasmine has went through a lot before and during the story. She didn't, even though she found bits of happiness here and there, she wasn't truly happy until after Lilac was defeated. She had Jax and Jenny and Ben and everything next to her, with her, and she became happier. But she did go through a lot before the story starts, like her father neglecting her entire life, her mother abandoning her when she was a baby. But I'd say the worst thing she ever went through was losing Alice, because Alice was her childhood nanny, and she was the only one that really cared about her growing up, and she raised her basically and cared for her and protected her and was just really sweet to her when no one else was, and Alice was like a mother to her. And Alice ended up dying, and it was really sad for Jasmine, because she lost the last bit of light she had in her kingdom, and it just made her life even worse, until she got to know people she cared about and started feeling more love. But yeah. Number 2, what's the worst thing your Emcee goes through by the end of the story? I'd say the events that happened in book 2, Jasmine Perez in Another Realm. Jasmine was tortured physically and mentally by her ex-fiance, who betrayed her and was working with Lilac the entire time. She was tortured physically and mentally, and she lost all belief, and she kind of began to think that her life and the realm she grew up in was fake, and that because she was in this asylum in this other realm, and Lucas was trying to make her think that it wasn't, that none of that was true, none of it actually happened, that she was just sick and needed help. And in book 3, she ended up having some anxiety and PTSD because of what she went through. So that was definitely the worst thing she went through, no doubt about it. Number 3, what is the happiest moment your Emcee goes through before the story starts? That'd be Alice giving her amulet. So Jasmine has this amulet. It's of a gargoyle and a dragon, and it showed a flashback of her giving it to her. But basically, the gargoyle symbolizes, gargoyles are supposed to protect you from evil, and then dragons are supposed to protect princesses. So that was kind of what it symbolized, and she had that amulet constantly, and she found out it was a bigger part of her story and her life than she even knew, and it had some magic inside of it, sort of, so it was powerful just like her. But what made it special wasn't the power or any of that. It was the fact that Alice gave it to her before she died, and you hardly ever see her without it, like, ever. She's constantly wearing it, and whenever she feels sad or scared or alone or anything, you always find her touching her amulet, just holding on to it, and trying to give herself a little hope by thinking about Alice. Number 4. What's the happiest moments your MC goes through by the end of the story? Becoming queen and making a change, which she does, but at the end, she finally is crowned queen and makes the changes to the kingdom to make it better in her image, and getting to marry Jax and spend a life with Jenny, Ben, and Zeke, along with Jax, obviously, because they're her family, and she got to spend a life with them and be happy with them, and she also became queen, which is something she always knew this was her destiny, but there were times she wasn't even sure that's what she wanted, because she would have to marry some snotty prince and have to be basically, won't get a say on anything because kings rule everything. But then she ended up making a change as queen. She married who she wanted to, including the Jax, who was the stable boy, and she was able to be in charge and control her kingdom her way and make the changes she needs, like not having magic not illegal anymore. Women are now not second class to men, and she was able to truly make the change that she wanted to make. Number 5. Who is your MC's best friend? So Jasmine has 2 best friends, and that would be Jenny and Ben. Jenny and her were kind of like an enemies to best friends sort of situation, but Jenny and Jasmine and Ben liked each other as soon as they met, and he was really the first person to be nice to her entire life, besides Alice. After Alice died, Ben was the first person to be nice to her, because Jax and Jenny did not like her very much at the beginning. And so her and Ben clicked right away, and they really liked each other, and they became close friends, and Ben did become her first friend in her life, and that made it special. But then her and Jenny do become very close, and Jasmine got to do things she never got to do before, like when Jenny was trying to get her ready for her first date with Jax and stuff, and she was able to have a real girlfriend next to her, and it was really sweet. Number 6. Who is your MC's true love? That'd be Jax, no question about it. They have an enemies to lover situation, and Jax and her ended up caring about each other before they even realized it. Jenny was the first person to realize it, and I really like the scene where Jasmine realized it. They were in the Arctic. It's a long story, but she did a spell to try to find her heart's desire, which was this mystical belt that will help her contain her powers long enough to be able to defeat Lilac without her powers going out of control. It's kind of safety net. She ended up not needing it later on because she figured out how to do things without that safety net, but she did a spell, and a snowflake appeared, and it started flying away, and she thought it was going to lead her to where the belt was, but instead it landed on Jax, and I just really like that scene. Number 7. What is something important to your MC? Her amulet, as I mentioned, how important it is, the significance, the fact that Alice gave it to her, and that the fact that it's just important to her because she feels like she has a part of Alice with her whenever she wears it. Number 8. Who is someone that means the world to your MC? So Alice, obviously, Jax, Jenny, and Ben all mean the world to her. Those are the people closest to her. Number 9. What is something your MC has to face? She kind of has to go out of her comfort zone. She never even left her palace gates. She left, I think the only time she ever really left her palace was to be in the garden or the stable. She wasn't really in the kingdom before. And then Lilac takes her people, kidnaps everyone except for Jax and Jenny, who managed to get away. And she has to not only leave the palace, but leave the kingdom and to a world she doesn't know. She also has to face against her mind, I guess you could say, because of what I explained about her being tortured in book 2. She has to try to hold on to everything she believed, and it isn't easy. She had to fight against her mind and try to keep it intact, and she faces a lot of things. And okay, number 10, what is something your Emcee has to overcome? Her self-doubt. For a long time, she didn't believe that she could be the chosen one. She didn't believe that this could be her. She was never anything important. I mean, her father neglected her. Her mother abandoned her. Her childhood nanny died on her. And Jax and Jenny didn't like her and were mean to her for no reason at all. And she never thought that she was anything special. And then all of a sudden she's told that she's the chosen one, the only one that can defeat Lilac, and that self-doubt doesn't just go away because all of a sudden she's told that she's the chosen one, that she's something special, and she had to overcome that self-doubt and finally believe that she can do it for her to actually be able to do it. Number 11, what is something your character loses? Her belief. Like I explained about her being tortured, she does end up believing Lucas for a little bit, that all of that about princesses, sorceresses, magic, realms was all in her head, and that she was just living, and that she was sick and needed help. She loses her belief a little bit. But she does get her belief back, obviously. And but it was hard for her to lose it. And then when she came back, she kind of had a mental breakdown because she was like, I can't do this. And yeah, so it was sad. Number 12, right? What is something your Emcee gains? Confidence. Like, I explained that she had to overcome her self-doubt. Well, when she finally did overcome her self-doubt, she grew confident and actually started to believe that she could do it, that she was powerful enough, that she could actually be something special, could actually save the world, her kingdom, and everything. It took a long time for her to get there, but she finally did get there. Number 13, who is your favorite side character you wrote? Ben. I really like Ben. I think he's the most that's like Jasmine, so maybe that's why I like him so much. But he's also a genius, and he's super kind and patient, and he's always there for everyone. He's the kind of he's that character. He's always there for everyone else and making sure they're okay, and doesn't even think about himself really. I mean, he was always there for Jasmine. I mean, when she was going through her anxiety and PTSD, she didn't want anyone to know, but Ben found out, and she asked him not to tell anyone because she didn't want anyone to worry about her, and so he agreed. Even though he didn't agree with her keeping the secrets, he kept the promise and didn't tell anyone, even though every so often he would urge her to tell them. He refused to tell them himself because it wasn't her story to tell. He just looked after her, watched her, helped her through her panic attacks and through her PTSD, and helped her feel better, and yeah, so. Number 14. Why is the villain of your story doing all of this? Well, as we'll find out in the prequel once I finally publish it. Because you could get a little bit bits and pieces of her and Rosemary's past in the series, but then in the prequel, the past comes out in full scale. So basically, Lilac, she found out she had magic, and unlike Rosemary, when she found out she had magic, she practiced it and learned to control it. Lilac, especially since she has the second dangerous magics of them all, chaos magic, which is basically where she can make anything chaotic happen, and it can be dangerous, not as deadly or dangerous as death magic, obviously, which I explained in another recent video, but chaos magic would be second, and she was terrified of it, and everyone is a different age when they find people. Okay, so people who have magic in my world are born with it. It's just it doesn't unlock until you're older, and everyone's a different age when their magic finally unlocks. Rosemary was a teenager when her magic unlocked. Lilac was still a child, so she didn't understand it. She never liked magic. She always was scared of it and thought that it only caused bad things to happen. So instead of telling anyone, instead of trying to learn how to control it or to understand it like Rosemary, she hid it. Kind of like Elsa tried to hide it, but that only made it grow more and become more dangerous for hiding it. I did not do that reference on purpose, just throwing that out there. But her magic became uncontrollable one day, which started a fire, which got her brother and sister-in-law killed. And so after that day, she had a darkness inside of her that she couldn't control, and her magic overcame her, which is something that is mentioned in the series. Jasmine realized that she had to either learn how to control her magic and let the magic become a part of her, or let it overcome her like Lilac had. And that's what the prequel is going to show, how Lilac let the magic overcome her and become her. And it's like Lilac, the girl she once wasn't there anymore. All that left was this chaotic magic that overtook her. Number 15. Is your villain working alone? No. At first you think she is until you find out that Lucas has actually been working with Lilac the entire time. They've been dating and they're in love, and so Lucas betrayed them and has been working with Lilac this entire time. And yeah. So, but she does end up having to work alone when Lucas is killed. Number 16. Does your Emcee have a guide or wise character of some sort that helps them through their journey? So Jasmine has seen both Alice and Rosemary as spirits before, and they both would guide her and help her through her journey. Alice more so, because Rosemary, she was always unsure if she could actually trust, but Alice, she trusted with her life. But they both guided her through her journey every so often, whenever she needed them most. Number 17. Are there any other couples in your story besides the one your Emcee has? Okay, let me start that again. Are there any other couples in your story besides the one your Emcee is a part of? So there's Jenny and Ben, Alice and Sarah, which Alice is already dead as we know, but it is really, you actually find out more about Alice's past with the fact that she was also a lesbian and had a girlfriend named Sarah. Then Zeke and Ryan. Zeke is Amara's little brother, and you find out that he's gay, and he ends up with someone near the end. Then there's, in the prequel, there's Alex and Luciana. Alex, I think that's what I named him. Alex and Luciana. Alex is Rosemary and Lilac's older brother. And then Rosemary and Nathaniel. Rosemary had a husband, obviously, which you get to see them meet in the prequel. And yeah. 18. Are there any other important friendships besides your Emcee and their friendship? So, Jasmine's friendships with Jenny and Ben are very important, but also another very, very important friendship is Jax and Jenny, because they've been best friends since they were young. Like, really young. Oh, I forgot to mention a couple. In the past, you find out Jax is bisexual because he actually had a boyfriend. I can't remember his name now. What was his name? I can't remember now. But he had a disease and ended up dying. But anyways, Jax and Jenny's friendship is extremely important. They've been best friends their entire lives, and they have always counted on each other, been there for one another, and they're just really close. Number 19. Do you have any LGBTQ characters? Who are they, and how are they LGBTQ? So Jax is bisexual. Alice is a lesbian. Sarah is a lesbian. We only got to see one scene from her, so, but yeah. Zeke is gay and Ryan is gay. 20. What happens to your Emcee after the story ends? Well, Jasmine marries Jax with Ben and Jenny as her royal advisors. She is crowned queen and makes the change she always wanted to make. Her and Jax also adopt Zeke because Amara died and Zeke was still, I think he was 13 or 14 when the story ended. So he was still young and, needed someone to take care of him. And then has 2 kids of her own. Jenny and Ben also have 2 kids. So that's kind of how Jasmine's story ends, and I really love how I ended the story. But I'm not gonna tell you because I've already spoiled enough. But yeah, so that's all. So I'm gonna tag Robin at the Bookworm Hole and Claire at Claire D. I can't wait to see your videos, and I hope you guys like the tag I created. I had a lot of fun filming it. So please like and subscribe and comment your answers or do this video. I would love for this tag to become viral. And that's all for this video, and I'll talk to you guys later.